Hey, thanks for coming back to me again. Today I wanted to talk to you about the time that, uh, the time I kicked some people out of the temple. And I had a very good reason for doing so, by the way. If you recall the story, there were some stories. Um, so, it was a Passover time, and so we were going to Jerusalem, because I was in my ministry. And so I go to the temple, and the temple's my father's house. Like that time that everyone thought I ran away when I was like 12, and then the parents, my mom and my stepdad, um, Mary and Joseph, they were all like freaking out about where I was, and then they found me like teaching the elders about the thing. I was just like 12, and I was teaching them, and I was like, "Didn't you know I'd be in my father's house?" So the temple is my father's house. I am the temple's God's house, and so it was my father's house. God's my father, which means I'm the son of God, which I'm still part of God. Trinity. So went back to my dad's house, and what did we find? We found a bunch of merchants and traders and traitors, and I got mad and I started like flipping tables over, and I took their money and just like dumped it out, and I made a kind of like a whip out of a cloth, and I like drove all the animals out, like turned that shit into a stampede, like out of here. Why would I do such a thing? Why? Why would you destroy your own father's house? Well, here's the thing. I was just like, you turned my father's house into a den of thieves. Not just merchants, commercialists, stock traders, or whatever. They turned it into a den of thieves. What were they doing? Well, as you know, back then, to atone for your sins, you had to go to the temple, and you had to bring your completely unblemished lamb and sacrifice it. And so they had these high priests, Sanhedrins, and Pharisees and Sadducees, and their priests that would look over the animal and be like, yeah, it's good, or no, it's not good. Well, most of the time they'd be like, no, it's not good. But here is this merchant who has these very high-priced, completely unblemished, verified unblemished animals that you can sacrifice, and you can buy them for like 1,000,000,000 shekels. And that's the only way you can get out of your sins. So they were taking all these people that were bringing their best animals to sacrifice to me, or to my dad, because I was there, so they didn't need to sacrifice. But that's that shit. They brought him there to sacrifice him, and then he's like, "Nope, it's not good. Buy this from my friend," because they were all getting kickbacks and shit. And it was a really corrupt system. Like they were screwing over people, and so I was just like, "No, this is not right." So I rose hell, Well, not actual hell. Don't want you to actually go to. I went to hell. I'm fucking do that again. I flipped over tables, like ran the animals out, throwing their coins at them and shit. And just like, get out of here. And it was kind of a riot. By legal, yeah, I was rioting in there. I was rioting for the right. It's okay to riot when you're when you're in the right. And they were like, well, I was like, destroy this temple, and I'll rebuild it in 3 days, because like they didn't believe who I was. And they're like, dude, Jesus of Nazareth, this temple has been being built for like 46 years. Let's go with like Solomon's temple. It got destroyed after one of the invasions and shit. And then Herod the Great started rebuilding it, and it had been being rebuilt for 46 years, and then I was just like, raise it and I'll rebuild it in 3 days. And they're like, no, that's not true. Well, here's the kicker. I was talking about the body of my temple. The temple of my body. Destroy this body, and in 3 days it gets rebuilt. That was about Easter. Kill me, and I'll be back in 3 days. I'll rise from the dead, and this temple will be rebuilt. And there's going to be a new covenant. You no longer have to go upon the old law. I'm with you all the time. I'm now omnipresent. And your sins are forgiven because I rebuilt the temple in 3 days. I died for your sins, came back from the dead. I am technically a zombie, but not. And all you have to do is say sorry for being a person. Thank me for dying, and accept me into your heart. And then you get to go to heaven. That's all I ask of you. Well, also read my book. Read my book, do what I say. But like the basics of it were just do those things. Say sorry, and gotta go into your heart. Your sins are forgiven. That's it. And the rest is all, we can get into details. But yeah, every Sunday, get some wine and some bread. And depending on whether or not you're a Catholic or a normal person, when you eat the bread and drink the wine or grape juice or cranberry juice, whatever you guys choose, it may or may not actually be my literal flesh. I understand the Catholics. Every Sunday, you guys literally eat my flesh and drink my blood. I know it sounds weird to outsiders, like, people that don't know my teachings, but, yeah. That's what Catholics do. They eat, like when the priest does something that he turns a piece of bread or a little, like, it's like a cookie or a little magic wafer. He, like, blesses it and, like, dips it in some alcohol, and then he gives it to somebody. And then they're literally eating the actual flesh of me and drinking my blood. This is a totally normal thing to do. The Protestants, however, are doing it representatively, or like they're as a ritual. They're doing it in remembrance of me. And maybe me and my 11 friends and one snitch, they were doing it at the time. This is my flesh, but it was more of a representation. Like, I'm talking like parables and shit. It wasn't like literally my flesh. Or maybe it was, Who are you to know what I meant at the time? And I have given you all of my work in my book, so you can figure this stuff out for yourself. Just read the entire Bible, and you'll know whether or not you're literally eating my flesh and literally drinking my blood, or it's just a symbolic thing of submission to me by eating my flesh and drinking my blood. Is it the acceptance of the sacrifice I made for you? And I know for those of you that are new to the Christian faith, this may seem a little confusing. All I gotta say is sorry. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's the way it actually is. I encourage you to watch all the rest of the videos that I have done. This is not actually my second coming. The second coming is coming. It's not here yet. It's on the way, and I'm coming soon. I'm just dropping down here in YouTube form. This is one of the rooms of heaven. No, I don't look like much, but heaven's a very nuanced place, you know. So, I think that's about it for today. I mean, this is, I guess, my third time I've spoke to you today. But, and yeah, just invite me into your heart. Everything will be cool. And that's the end of this. So, I'm going to check out. For now, I love you. And I would appreciate it if you loved me back.